Broadcasting live from somewhere in the Shadow Realm, this is YuGiOh Deck Talk. Here's your host, Doug Dimmaduel.
Hey there, and welcome to another episode of YuGiOh Deck Talk. Today, we're going to take a look at a Magician Girl, Dark Magician type deck. This one's a lot of fun to play, and I think this is one that I definitely want to build in the future for upcoming local events and upcoming just casual tournaments. But you'll see here that there's a pretty interesting strategy involved, and a lot of these cards that are the Magician Girl type cards are just excellent overall. So I'm going to start going through some of the monsters here. First, I'd like to start off with Apple Magician Girl. It is a level 3 spellcaster with 1200 attack and 800 defense. Its effect is once per turn. If this card is targeted for an attack, you can special summon one level 5 or lower spellcaster type monster from your hand, then change the attack target to it. And if you do, the attacking monster's attack becomes half of its current attack. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target up to 3 other Magician Girl monsters with different names in your graveyard and add them to your hand. So this card is just excellent overall, because especially if you have it later on in the duel, you're probably going to end up going through quite a few of your Magician Girl cards one way or another, either by battle or by discard or anything like that. So having multiple Magician Girl cards in your graveyard with different names, Apple Magician Girl will just totally load your hand with more cards. So this is more of a recycling card in a way. It's not necessarily a card that you want to have in your opening hand, but this is one that you'll want to see as your duel progresses as you go through more. Next up, we have Berry Magician Girl, a level 1 spellcaster with 400 attack and 400 defense. If this card is normal summoned, you can add one Magician Girl monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn during either player's turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets this card or targets this card for an attack, you can change this card's battle position, and if you do, special summon one Magician Girl monster from your deck except Berry Magician Girl. So what Berry Magician Girl does with its effect, if it's targeted by an effect or by an attack, is it acts as a searcher. You can bring out any of your other Magician Girl cards, or even Dark Magician Girl, and get that onto the field, just ignoring all other attribute requirements or anything along those lines. So this is a card that would be an excellent first-hand card as well. Now, you're relying on your opponent to try and attack this card, but with a 400 attack and defense, it seems like a pretty easy target for your opponent. But either way, you won't. As long as you're able to activate its effect to change it from attack to defense position, you're not going to take any life point damage, barring any type of piercing effects that your opponent may or may not have. So anyway, the next card that we have here is Chocolate Magician Girl, a level 4 spellcaster with 1600 attack, 1000 defense. Once per turn, you can discard one spellcaster type monster. Draw one card. Once per turn, if this card is targeted for an attack, you can target one spellcaster type monster in your graveyard, except Chocolate Magician Girl, special summon it, then change the attack target to it, and if you do, the attacking monster's attack becomes half of its current attack. So this card is a great one-card combo if you have a Dark Magician Girl or something along those lines sitting in your graveyard. Or you don't even need it in your graveyard as long as you have a Dark Magician Girl in your hand, based off of its first effect, where, say you have a Dark Magician Girl in your hand, discard that for the first effect to draw one additional card. Then if your opponent then targets your Chocolate Magician Girl, activate its second effect to bring that Dark Magician Girl back out of the graveyard and have your opponent target the Dark Magician Girl for attack. Now you're talking at least an attack of 2,000 that your Dark Magician Girl would have, and would end up cutting your opponent's attack in half, so your opponent's attack would have to be at least greater than 4,000 to run over your Dark Magician Girl that you're bringing out, because of its attack being cut in half. So Chocolate Magician Girl is just a really good combo there if you have the right cards in your graveyard. Next we have the plain vanilla Dark Magician Girl, or I wouldn't say plain vanilla, I just mean the plain Jane Dark Magician Girl here, level 6, spellcaster, 2000 attack, 1700 defense. This card gains 300 attack for every Dark Magician or Magician of Black Chaos in either player's graveyard. So this is just your nice 2000 attack card. This thing is great. Next, you have Kiwi Magician Girl, level 5 spellcaster, 1800 attack, 1200 defense. During either player's turn, you can discard this card. Magician Girl monsters you currently control gain 300 attack and defense for each Magician Girl monster with different names on the field and in the graveyards until the end of this turn. Spellcaster type monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects, and your opponent cannot target them with card effects. So this covers all the bases. So your Magician Girl monsters wouldn't be able to get targeted by effects for at least a turn. Kiwi Magician Girl is just an excellent protector card. So overall, that one is definitely one that you want to run copies of in this type of deck. So the next you have a Lemon Magician Girl, a level 2 spellcaster with 800 attack and 600 defense. Once per turn, you contribute one Magician Girl monster except Lemon Magician Girl. Add one spellcaster type monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, if this card is targeted for an attack, you can special summon one spellcaster type monster from your hand, but its effects, if any, are negated. Then change the attack target to it, and if you do, the attacking monster's attack becomes half its current attack. So what you want to use Lemon Magician Girl for, at least in my opinion, right off the bat, is to get out your plain vanilla Dark Magician out of your deck, because you'll be able to use it for combos with your Dark Magician Girl and even some of the spell and trap cards. Well, not so much trap cards, but the spell cards that I'm going to be going through in just a second. So Lemon Magician Girl is a really, really good card, even though it's only got an 800 attack and 600 defense. But yeah, it works out great. Also, a side note, there is also a Toon Dark Magician Girl. I'm not going to get too much into it. It requires a Toon World and all that stuff. I know I had a discussion about a Toon deck in one of the prior episodes. I could get into that later in a later episode as well. But I want to move on to the spell cards that are involved with a Magician Girl type deck, even with Dark Magician. So the first card I have here is Dark Burning Attack. It's a normal spell card. If you control a Dark Magician Girl monster, destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls. So this is effectively your Regeki if you have a Dark Magician Girl on the field. So Dark Burning Attack is just an unbelievable card. Next is even better. We have Dark Burning Magic. It's a quick play spell card where if you control monsters whose original names are Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl, destroy all cards your opponent controls. That means monsters, spell cards, field cards, everything's gone. Just wipe clean your opponent's board if you have both of those monsters out on the field. That's why I feel that Lemon Magician Girl plays such an important role in this, to be able to get your Dark Magician onto the field. And you can use other cards as well, like your Berry Magician Girl, to get your Dark Magician Girl on the field. That way you have your Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl both on the field. Just clean that board with Dark Burning Magic, and it's just an insanely good combo. So the next card we have is Dark Magic Expanded. It's another quick play spell card where you apply these effects in sequence based on the number of Dark Magician and or Dark Magician Girls on the field and in the graveyards. One or more. The effect is one Dark Spellcaster type monster on the field gains 1000 attack until the end of this turn. Two or more. This turn, your opponent cannot activate cards and effects in response to your spell or trap cards or effect activations. Also, spell and trap cards you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Three or more. Dark Spellcaster type monsters you currently control are unaffected by your opponent's card effects until the end of this turn. So the more Dark Magicians and Dark Magician Girls you have on the field and graveyard, the better Dark Magic Expanded becomes. This is an excellent quick play spell card. Next card we have here is Dark Magic Inheritance. It's another quick play spell where you banish 2 spell cards from your graveyard, add 1 spell or trap card from your deck to your hand that specifically lists the card Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl in its text, except Dark Magic Inheritance. You can only activate 1 Dark Magic Inheritance per turn. So what this does is it helps you search out a Dark Burning Attack, or a Dark Burning Magic, or a Dark Magic Expanded, even a Sage's Stone, something along those lines that at least specifically references the cards in its text. Next, we have an Equip card, an Equip spell card called Magic Formula. Equip only to Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl. It gains 700 attack. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, gain 1000 life points. So overall, this card is good, whether it's on the field or off the field. If it's on the field, you gain some significant attack power. When it leaves the field, you gain 1000 life points. So it's a win-win. The next card here is Sage's Stone. It's a normal spell card where if you control a face-up Dark Magician Girl, special summon 1 Dark Magician from your hand or deck. So already, if you're able to use Berry Magician to search out a Dark Magician Girl, get that card on the field, use Sage of Stone to get your Dark Magician on the field, then possibly, if you're lucky enough, you may have Dark Burning Magic or something along those lines, and you're just going to be able to wipe the board clean with your opponent. So, excellent chance of just a devastating combo with this deck. You can see why I'm getting really excited about trying this one out at locals. It's cards like these that just really make this deck insanely good. So those are all the spell cards involved that are specifically related to Dark Magician Girl. So the one bonus card that I want to add in here is a fusion monster, Dark Magician Girl the Dragon Knight, the level 7 Dragon Fusion monster with 2600 attack and 1700 defense. It requires one Dark Magician Girl and one Dragon type monster. Must be fusion summoned with the above fusion materials or with the Eye of Timaeus, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can send one card from your hand to the graveyard, then target one face-up card on the field and destroy that target. So this card has excellent destructive capabilities with its, if you have a card in your hand that you want to get rid of, it really just makes things a little more difficult for your opponent. So this is also a good extra deck piece as well, if you're trying to run a Dark Magician Girl type deck. But yeah, it's just another good piece. I like that one as an added bonus. So overall, these give you a lot of the key players when you're thinking about constructing a deck like this. If you have constructed a Magician Girl deck, or if you're planning on doing it and you have some bits of information that you'd like to add, or that you have some recommendations, feel free to reach out on Twitter at YuGiOh Deck Talk. It's all one word, at YuGiOh Deck Talk, and I'd love to hear what's worked and what hasn't worked for you. So anyway, that's it for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Take care.